You know, once you know all the pieces and the parts and the components that make up a skateboard, well, you need to know how to actually put it together and assemble it yourself. So, this video will teach you exactly how to do that. I made it along with Holly Lyons, who is the top professional skateboarder in the world, about, 2 years ago in 2007. The video shows you all kinds of basic things about skateboarding, from how to keep your balance and how to do really basic tricks, to how to assemble the skateboard. If you have a board from California Girl Skateboards, you do not get a logo on the top. So what you can do, as I did in this case, is I actually got one of the California Girl Skateboards bumper stickers and just slap that across the top and put grip tape above it and blow it. Now it looks real nice, and I've got the logo on the top of the deck.
Alright, James Bond, now you need your gadgets to assemble your skateboard. You'll need a crescent wrench, a screwdriver, and a knife to cut the grip tape. No, wait, not that kind of a knife, just, you know, something like this, like an X-Acto knife or a razor blade or something like that. And that's it, that's all the tools you'll need.
Alright, so the very first thing that you're going to want to do when you put together a skateboard is put the grip tape on the deck. Now, as I've mentioned, it usually comes in a big sheet like this that you slap on like a big sticker. Or in this case, for this board, I'm actually going to put on different grip tape that comes in little squares and panels. So it makes it a little bit easier to put it on this way if you want to do any kind of artistic work. So let's put on the first sheet. You just pull it off like this. It's just a big sticker. Remember that the grip tape's really sticky, so you want to be really careful when you put it on. Now in this case, I put a little mark on the pencil on the deck so I can line it up right about there in the middle of my bolts. And you press down from the center going out so you don't have any air bubbles. Then you kind of want to push around the edges. After your board is completely covered, you're going to want to cut off the excess grip tape. Now the best way to do that is by scoring the edge of the grip tape. You just use a screwdriver like this and you just rub along the side. Grip tape can be really rough and it can mess up scissors or your tools, so you can use a file like this or a skate tool that has a grip tape file on it. And then it's meant to do this, and you just rub along the edge. And it's great because it discolors the black grip tape and turns it white. And you just rub it all the way around the perimeter of the skateboard like this until the whole board is scored like this. And you want to start cutting the grip tape. And by scoring it, it kind of wears the grip tape a little bit too and makes it easier when you're cutting around the perimeter of the skateboard. Oh, but wait, we covered up our mounting holes. So what we want to do here, because we want to put our trucks on, we want to take a nail, one of the bolts usually that you're going to use for your trucks, and you just want to stick it in, flip the board over and poke it through like that. So you want to flip it around like this and redo the holes and just kind of do it in a circular motion so you can see where your bolts are going to go in and your trucks will be on the other side. One last little trick is, if you do have air bubbles, is take an X-Acto knife or your razor blade and kind of pierce the grip tape like we've done here, and then press down with your thumb and get rid of that extra air bubble area, and then your grip tape is nice and smooth on your skateboard.
Alright, now it's time to put in our bearings. So, what we're going to do is take this and stick it in there. Now as you can see, one side of our bearing is black and the other side is silver. Doesn't really matter which side you put in, you can do it either way. In this case, I think I'll be putting up maybe the silver side. Alright, so first thing you do is you take off your axle nut, and you use your little crescent wrench and you unscrew the axle nut and you set that aside so you don't lose it. Alright, now you got these two washers here, see them? Alright, slide the two washers off and set those aside because you don't want to lose those either. Okay, now you take your bearing, and like I said, I think I'll be putting the silver side out, kinda like that. So you slide it on to the axle like so, with the silver side pointing in and the black side pointing out. And then you grabs your wheel and you just kinda shove it on there. And you gotta push really freaking hard sometimes. If the veins are like popping out in your head, then you know you're doing it right. And sometimes you might want to kind of push down on a table or the floor or something. You get it in there real good.
And then you slide off the axle, and as you can see, the bearing is mounted and it's goes pretty far into the wheel there. So there you go. There's one bearing. And then you need to put on the other one, because each wheel, of course, has 2 bearings. So this one, we'll be putting it on the same way. Slide it onto the axle first, and then you grab your wheel, and you push the wheel on, and then you get it in there, and you know, I shouldn't be holding this in my hand. I should really be pushing down on the table or something hard, because then it's easier to get it in. And there we go. There you go. There's a bearing. 2 bearings in 1 wheel. And that's all there is to that. Wait a second. Back that up. Back it up. Look at that. Look at the white side. See that one I just put in? Look at that. That's not mounted in there very good. On the white side, that could have been done a lot better. But, oh well, you get the idea.
Okay, now we're going to mount the wheels onto the trucks. It's pretty simple, but I'll give you a few tips and tricks on how to do it right. So first what you want to do is you want to take the washer and put it onto your axle. Get on there, there we go. Then you take your wheel with your bearings on it and you slip it right into the axle. Then you take your other washer and you want to put that onto the axle, just like that. And then you want to take your axle nut and you put it on there and just use your fingers to turn it and tighten it as hard as you can. Then once you get it on pretty good, you want to grab your crescent wrench or a skate tool and you turn it clockwise to make it tighter. So here's one little trick. What you should do is when you're first putting it on is you want to get it tight to where it's snug, to where the wheel's not moving, but you don't want to make it too tight, because for me, I've over tightened it and actually ruined a couple pairs of bearings before and had to bring it back to the skate shop. So you don't want it too tight, but you want it nice and snug, and then you loosen it right here, turn it counterclockwise to loosen it, and then you want to keep it so it's not too tight, not too loose, but so the wheel has a little bit of give, and then when you spin it like that, it just keeps going. Alright, then you'll be free riding out there on the streets. Over tighten it at first and then just back off a little bit until you just have a little bit of wiggle, and then you're all done.
Okay, your final step, mounting your trucks. Never mount your trucks this way, with the kingpin bolt pointing towards the nose or the tail. Always have the bolt pointing in like this. Both trucks should have the kingpin bolts pointed towards each other. Now the reason that this is so incredibly important is because if you mount your trucks the wrong way, the board is actually going to turn the opposite of the way you lean. So you'll lean left and the board will turn right. Yeah, that's really not a good way to learn how to skate. So make sure you mount it exactly the way you see it on the screen right now, with the kingpin bolt towards the middle of the deck, not towards the nose or the tail. That's bad. Okay. Here's how you mount the trucks. Very simple. You take your mounting hardware and you got your trucks. Again, making sure that kingpin bolt is pointed towards the middle. You notice it's not pointed towards the tail. Okay, so first thing you do is take your mounting hardware, take one of the bolts, and just slip it through the deck. Starting on the grip tape side here, you slip that one through, and then you kind of hold on to it and take another one and slip that one through, and then you could sort of just hold on to them with your fingers, flip the board back over, and then take your riser pad, and that's the next thing that's got to go on. So you stick on the riser pad there, and then you take your trucks and you slip the trucks on, kind of line it up, and then take your lock nuts and you put down one on one side, then you put down the other one on the other side, just kind of tighten them by hand. Now make sure that when you're tightening your trucks down that you don't tighten them too much, because if you do, you can do something like this, where you can actually start to pull the head of the screw into the wood of the board. You want it to be like that. You want it to be nice and flush with the top. You don't want to kind of rip it through the deck. Once you're done, there you go. Congratulations, you have a fully assembled skateboard. Da, 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 da.